Well, it's Tuesday, and you all know what that means. As you know, NXT are in their go home show because, as you probably can guess, we are now in WrestleMania week. So anything could happen before then. But first things first, of course, as always, we're going to witness who will be the one to challenge Ricky Saints for the North American Championship. And of course, more names are being added for the upcoming ladder match for the vacant North American Women's Championship. And of course, the confrontation between Obafemi, Javon Evans, and Trick Williams for their upcoming main event for the NXT Championship. So things could go a little hairy going forward from here on out. However, first things first, we're going to be reviewing the latest three shows from ChocoPro, number 439, 440, and 441. Some matches are preliminary matches for championships and other things as well. And of course, Baka Gaijin Friends had their much recent show, featuring, of course, DDT's very own Keigo Nakamura, who will be leaving, going on an overseas excursion, which is, of course, going to be a long period of time, so it's great. And of course, Chris Brooks defends, of course, the BKG Openweight Championship in a three-way against Mr. Malo and Mr. Bueno. And so there's going to be a lot of things taking place on that too. And then finally, of course, as always, we'll be capping up our episode with some news updates, giving you guys updates on what's been happening in the world of pro wrestling, such as what events and promotions are thrown out, who's booked, what matches are set, of course, updates with the WWE ID Championship Tournament, and of course, developments on what's been happening in the world of pro wrestling as we speak. So, let's get ready for another episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel where we do a lot of pro wrestling views from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, anywhere in the world where pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also, of course, do more news updates. If certain information was unable to be on this episode, we can either put it on the next one or on a separate video by itself. We also, of course, do real-timing news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We also, of course, got the Unagi Sayaka Watch and various other cool wrestling content as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us or click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on a like button or nice comments in the description down below. Now, enough with the pleasantries. So let it begin. So let's start with ChocoPro number 439. Okay, ChocoPro number 439. This is one of the recent shows that took place recently on April 5th. Now, as always, recently we have the opening with Emi Sakura greeting the fans, and not to mention information on the matches of the day. So let's get started with the first one. Our first one, we have Sayaka Obihiro, or as we call her, Obi. She teams up with Shin Suzuki, taking on Balin Aki and Chi Koshikawa. Now, what's interesting of this match, many of you know that recently Chi and Obi were former tag champions until they lost the belts to, of course, Black Komanagi, Tokiko Kirihara, and Antonio Honda. And of course, the rivalry between Balinaki and Shin Suzuki continues. But the real question is how this was going to go down in the match. Well, we do know everybody's strength and capabilities when it comes to, of course, everybody. I mean, Chi has been known as too much energy. Balinaki has been proving what ChocoPro is all about, and Obi, well, being Obi as always. Shin continues to grow. But in the end, it was, of course, Balinaki who picked up the win onto Obi when Obi attempting to do the Obi magic on Balin. It did not work in her favor, so Balinaki was able to counter it and pin her. 1, 2, 3, done. Next match, we have singles action. We have Hiroyi Yawada taking on Rina Yamashita. Now, Yamashita, many of you guys know, she is a very tough wrestler in the Yoshi wrestling scene. You know how tough she is, but with Hiroyi, she was really stepping up a little bit of her game, as you know, as the least experienced member of the ChocoPro roster. Now, of course, many of you probably would think she would have lost this match. Well, yes, I mean, exactly. I mean, Rina Yamashita applied a very striking forearm on her chest, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, done. So, I have to say, Hiroyi has been growing up significantly, so I'm not going to lie about that. Our next match, our main event, features, of course, Sayaka, one half of the Asian Dream Tag Team Champions, teams up with the boss herself and mentor, Emi Sakura, to take on, of course, well, I like to call them sisters because they act similarly, Kao Hiromi and our current Super Asian champion, Mei Suruga. Now, this is a preliminary match for those who don't know, those who don't realize that Emi Sakura has issued a challenge for the Super Asian Championship. Now, for those who don't recall or don't remember, for those who are new to the channel, it was Mei Suruga who defeated Emi Sakura for this belt recently that prompted the rename the promotion from Gato Move to ChocoPro. So basically, that's what it was. And now Emi Sakura is determined to regain the belt that she lost. But however, how will her teaming with Kaho be any different? Well, interesting enough, when it comes to Sakura, she is all business, no fun and games, and that's exactly what she did. However, she had a bit of a revenge against Mei Suruga when she applied the Mahistral on her, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it's over. She gets the momentum in this match for the upcoming main event later on in, I think in May, I believe. So yes, so we'll pay attention close to that. And as for our Jonkin tournament, well, I can tell you that the best bros did not make it all the way through, but both May and Balin. The one person that got all the way through was none other than Sayaka. So she got lucky, won the piece of chocolate, and just like that, it was over. So it was a pretty good show. However, I will mention in the upcoming reviews with ChocoPro, we do still have more preliminary matches involving both Mei Shruga and Emi Sakura. So we'll get to that. So right now, we are done with this one with number 439. Let's move on with 444. Okay, we continue with more with ChocoPro, this time with number 440. And this one took place on April 6th, just a day after 439. Now, as always, with the opening of the show, we have Emi Sakura, as usual, with greeting with the fans and giving the information of the day's events of the matches. So let's get started. Our first match, we have Kao Hiromi teaming up with Tokiko Kirihara, taking on the Egg Tarts. That is Chi Koshikawa and Hagane Shino. So, if those who are new to the channel, yes, that's the name of the tag team between Chi and Hagane Shino, and they were actually one of my second favorites behind the Best Bros, in case anybody asks. But they are a stable team. The only reason they team up now is because Hagane Shino, for those who don't know, felt that Chi Koshikawa needed to, how do I say, stand on her own 2 feet, not to rely too much on Hagane. And of course, that's exactly what she did. She now is stand on her 2 feet, pulling her own weight. But as always, I did mention they are a stable tag team. They are very cohesion. Hagane even admitted himself that he wished that he could be more like Balinaki and Mei Shruga, and they did that. Now, when it comes to Kaho and Tokiko, you guys know that they are a makeshift team. Basically, they are teaming up for the first time, and that plays out pretty well. But Chiko Shikawa was able to pick up the pinfall onto Kaho, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, done. Our next match, well, this is not a permanent match, but this is a match you can say. Emi Sakura put herself in a match against Hiroyi Yawada. This is her way of trying to build up momentum for her upcoming title match against Mei Shruga. But however, for those who did not realize, Balinaki was saying that Hiroyi has picked up a lot of bad habits now. Thing is, when it comes to wrestlers who are like the good guys, you're not supposed to do things that are against the code. Well, Hiroyi was doing that. Basically, she was grabbing Emi Sakura by the hair and tried to toss her around like a rag doll. And that's exactly what she was doing. But it did not play any part for her because, in fact, this match ended with Emi Sakura giving her a very strong chop to the chest. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, done. So Emi Sakura picked up good momentum for her upcoming match. But however, as I mentioned before, she has a preliminary match in the next one of ChocoPro, which we'll review. However, let's finish up with this one first. Our main event, we have coming from Gambari Pro, Munetatsu Nakamura teams up with Evolution's very own Soy. They take on the Best Bros, Balinaki and Mei Shruga. Now, for those who don't know, Mei Shruga made appearances in Evolution recently and teamed up with Soy, and there was a bit of a Mei Shruga and Soy got into a little scruffle. Well, not bad, but more like, what the hell is wrong with you? We messed up. You lost. That's sort of the blame game. But of course, we can say, much like when we talk about the Ektards, that both Balinaki and Mei Shruga, they are a much cohesion team than anybody, And of course, when it comes to Munetatu and Soy, they are a makeshift team. So that plays out in a good way. But it was, of course, a double pin on one person. Both Balinaki and Mei Shruga were able to isolate Nakamura in order to pin both Soy, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, done. For our Jonkin tournament, you probably will figure out who was going to win. This one turned out to be in favor of Chiko Shikawa, so she picked up the win. So she gets the piece of chocolate, and that's how things end with ChocoPro number 440. Let's move on to the last one, 441. Okay, our last review with ChocoPro number 441. This is their much recent one that took place on the 13th of April. As always, with the opening, we have Emi Sakura with the greetings and the info of the day's event. So let's get started as always. Our first match, we have tag team action. We have Hiroyi Yawada teaming up with Nonaka Seto, taking on, of course, Black Kominachi, Antonio Honda, and Tokiko Kihara. Now, as I mentioned before when it comes to the previous review I did, Tokiko and Antonio Honda, they are a stable tag team, not to mention former Asian Dream Tag Team champions. So you can guess how this match was going to turn out. But the one thing you need to realize when it comes to both Honda and Tokiko, they like to play not dirty games, but more like play tricks on everyone in order to pick up the win, especially when it comes to Antonio Honda. But unfortunately, Tokiko was able to pick up the win when she applied a submission on Hiroyi, and Hiroyi had no choice but to tap out. And just like that, it was over. Next up, we have another tag team match. We have Chiko Shikawa teaming up with what's his name? Minoru Suzuki. Minoru Fujita. I forgot there's 3 Minoras I know of. Minoru Fujita, who's been a regular in the past with ChocoPro. Now he makes his back. They challenge in a non-title match between Bellflowers, consistent of the current Asian Dream Tag Team Champions Sayaka and Makoto. Now, of course, when it comes to challenging them in a non-title match, if they are successful, they could get an opportunity for the tag team belts, of course, and that is something I'm sure they're looking forward to it. But of course, Sayaka and Makoto, who were able to form a very good solid team, were able to pull their weight no matter what. I mean, Sayaka, as mentioned, over time, I have seen her how much she's grown. She has developed a new type of way of being all smiley and cherish, but throw in a bit of a violent side when it comes having her matches. And that played out pretty well too. Makoto, who in fact is a veteran wrestler, well, that plays off in its own way too. But it was, of course, Sayaka who was able to pick up the win by pinning Chi with her signature pinfall. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, done. Our next match is which is our last one, is a 6-person tag match. We have Soy from Evolution teaming up with Miya Yatsuba and Emi Sakura taking on Kaho Hiromi and the Best Bros, Balinaki and Mei Shruga. Now, as I mentioned before, this is a preliminary match between Emi Sakura and Mei Shruga for the Super Asia Championship. Now, remember, if I can recap for all of you, for those who have not been keeping up, Emi Sakura issued a challenge to regain the belt that she lost to her former student with Mei Shruga. So this is one of those matches where, okay, who will pick up the momentum? Will it be Emi Sakura or will it be Mei Shruga? And of course, we can see certain dynamics when it comes to each of them. I mean, look, you can say Soy, Miya Yatsuba, and Emi Sakura. They're not a team. I mean, we have seen them individuality. But when it comes to, of course, Kaho, we know that she has teamed up with Mei Shruga on countless times. But however, of course, we know she and Balinaki can team up well. But recently, we have seen Kaho team up with the Best Bros on certain occasions, and this is where she has to step up the game. But however, in this match, many of you will probably guess that Kaho's presence became the interesting factor of having, of course, Emi Sakura to pick up a pinfall onto her onto Kaho, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, Emi Sakura picked up the win for her and her teammates, and of course, she continues to build up momentum for their upcoming title match that will take place next month. So we'll see how things will progress. But as for our Jonkin tournament, the winner for this one turned out to be Miya Yatsuba. So that kind of plays out pretty well. So that's how we end things with ChocoPro. So as of right now, if you guys are interested in seeing these shows, go on their YouTube channel, click ChocoPro, and there it is. So we're done with ChocoPro. Let's move on with our next, and this one is from Baka Gaijin and Friends. Okay, Baka Gaijin and Friends, Volume 21. This is their much recent show they just put out. Now, for those who don't know Baka Gaijin and Friends, who are new to the channel, if you're not familiarized with this promotion, this is like another version of ChocoPro, but instead of an empty space where you can fill in people, this one takes place in a bar. So you can say it's like another version of ChocoPro, but much different and a much different environment. Now, I'm not saying that it's better from out of both. ChocoPro will always be one of my favorite ones in this type of setting, but it plays out. Now, our first match, we have, of course, Antonio Honda versus Trans Am Hiroshi. Now, of course, those who know, these two guys are different from each other, but one thing they do have in common is that they love to sing. Basically, if you guys don't know this, Antonio Honda at certain times bring in his little guitar and try to strum away, sing a song. And Trans Am Hiroshi, well, he's a bit of a singer when it comes to it. One of my favorite moments with him is when he was getting everyone to sing along to "We Will Rock You" by Queen, because of course Emi Sakura was trying to do that as a signature move, and Trans Am decided just to fill in the gap, but this one was different. However, those who know Antonio Honda, when it comes to do things like this, playing his guitar and try to sing along, well, you know this serves up as a distraction to keep his opponents off balance. And that's exactly how he did, because he put what's his name, Trans Am Hiroshi in a backslide, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, done. Our next match, we have tag team match, and we have Munich, who is in fact is Munetatsu Nakamura. He teams up with Dao Yuiki, or as we know him, uh, I forgot what his name, Takayuki Uiki. So basically, they had two characters. They face against Ram Kaicho and Chi Kuku Kaicho, which is, of course, Shiko Shikawa. So, of course, she had to dress up using Ram Kaicho's makeup in order to do so. And that plays out pretty well. I mean, I wasn't too sure. Ram Kaicho is not the easiest person to have tag team partners because, A, she only teams up with people that she knows she can trust. And, of course, she is not one of them. But she was able to pull up her weight when, of course, she picked up the pinfall by a schoolboy onto Munich, and just like that, it was over. So, Chi and Ram walked away with the win. And of course, Ram decides to beat the crap out of her, but she just accepted it. Excuse me. Now, moving on, our next match is a special match, as you probably know. Mentioned this in a update in a recent episode. DDT's very own Keigo Nakamura will be in an indefinite excursion overseas, and this is his final match in Baka Gaijin Friends, and he faces against Maho. What's interesting is Keigo wanted to win this match. Hopefully, he can leave Baka Gaijin and Friends with the win. But Maho, who is a strong competitor, would try to do whatever it takes to win, even if he has to go through, not cheating, but more try to do some drastic measures by force. And that's exactly what he did when he tried the light kick. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, he picked up the win. But Keigo did not walk away with the win. Well, we'll see how things will progress before he leaves on his excursion. Our main event, we have the BKG Openweight Championship. Chris Brooks makes his second defense. This time he's in a three-way against Mr. Malo and Mr. Bueno. So basically, three ways can go either way. But there was moments where we see Chris Brooks teaming up with Mr. Malo in order to soften up, of course, Mr. Bueno. But, of course, the old saying goes, every man for themselves. But in this case, of course, we did see a cradle from Mr. Bueno by Mr. Malo, pinning Mr. Bueno, and just like that, Mr. Malo is our brand new BK Openweight champion. So Chris Brooks failed, but we'll see how things will go with him. Now, you guys would ask me, will there be more championship with Baka Gaijin and Friends? That is something I don't know. I cannot speak on that. I mean, only Chris Brooks will know since he's running the show. So we'll see. But we are now officially done with this. However, if you guys are interested in checking this out, go to, of course, their YouTube channel. You can see it for free. So go check it out. So we're done with this one. Let's move on with our last and final review, NXT. Alright, NXT. As I said before earlier in the start of this video, this is their go-home show before Stand and Deliver. So anything could happen before then. Now, we opened up with a #1 contendership for the North American Championship in a fatal four-way. We have Lex King, Wes Lee, Eddie Thorpe, and Ethan Page. But the real question we ask ourselves, who will walk out? Now, we do know certain people don't like Ricky Saints because he's an outsider. We see that with Wes Lee. We see that with Ethan Page. King feels like it's time for him to step up his game. Eddie Thorpe felt that title, the North American title, is now being used by disgraced people who don't represent Native Americans like himself. However, Ricky Saint decided to be part of it to watch the event. However, Ethan Page decided to piss him off and force him to leave, and that's exactly what happened. But of course, when it comes to four ways, you know that these guys would do whatever it takes to win, even if they have to stop referee, pull refs, pull the opponents, whatever. But Ethan Page was the one who prevailed when he applied the ego cutter onto Lexus King, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, #1 contender. And then, of course, he decided to do a post-match promo, making it clear what his goals now are to obtain the North American title. However, Ricky Saints repaid a favor to Ethan Page after what he did to him last week, and now he got even. So, real question is, who will walk out as Stand and Deliver as our North American champion? We just gotta wait and see. Now, As you know, we are still getting names added for the upcoming ladder match for the vacancy of the North American Women's Championship. So Ruka and Sarah were talking, but however, Izzy Dame and Kalani Jordan, who are in fact officially in this, they are claiming they're going to walk away. But however, we have more names that are being added. Now, one of the names that have been decided to add, we had another qualifier match. We have Tatum Paxley taking on Lola Vice. Now, of course, Lola Vice, we have seen what she can do. I mean, she has become a force to be reckoned with in the NXT women's division for quite a while. She doesn't back down from anybody, especially those who piss her off. But she was able to walk away with the win when she applied the back fist, and just like that, it was over. But I think many of you may question who will take the final spot. Well, according to Ava, well, that's a surprise for everyone. So yes. But however, of course, Ava, as you know, has been trying to do something. Apparently, she tried to talk to the women's division, especially those involving in tag team. Of course, we have Jakar Jackson and Lash Legend, known as the Meta Girls. Uh, what's their name? Fatal Influence. And of course, Tatum Paxley and Gigi Dolan. However, Roxanne wanted to be involved, but of course, Ava told her, well, you got to get yourself a tag partner to do so. So that's exactly what happened. But having a tag partner is not that easy. Now, our next match is a gauntlet match for a number one contendership for the NXT Tag Team Championship. So the real question is, who will walk out as winners to face Fraxium, Axiom, and Nathan Frazier at Stand and Deliver? First match we had, of course, is Hank and Tank taking on Tyson Dupont and Tyreek Igwe. Now, it's no secret these two teams have faced off each other. Recently, Hank and Tank has lost in this match, but they were able to pick up the win when they put away Igwe, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, that's one match is done. However, their next opponents are another team that they lost recently as well, the Culling, Nico Vance and Brooks Jensen. But many people would have thought, okay, this is one of those matches where, of course, Hank and Tank, they're out. But somehow they able to turn around. Tank was able to maneuver his body for a pinfall on Brooks Jensen. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, Hank and Tank were able to survive it. But however, another team that they lost also recently, the No Quarter Catch Crew, Tavion Heights and Miles Bourne. Same thing. Many people would have thought, okay, Hank and Tank, they'll be done. They should be extremely tired. But nope. Apparently, they were able to avert fate. Hank was able to pull away Miles Bourne long enough for Tank to apply a schoolboy onto Tavion Heights. And just like that, 1, 2, 3. Holy cow, another win. But however, their last team they have to deal with is a team that has shown that they're willing to determine determination and strength, and that is Josh Briggs and Yoshiki Inamura. And the real question asks, okay, is this the final time? They are Tank and Tank already tired as hell. They have wasted almost everything in the tank. But the real question is, will they pull off a miracle? I have to say, holy crap. I did not expect that either. They became like the Cinderella story in NXT, in my opinion. They were able to divert everything when, of course, they were, what's his name? Tank was able to shove Brooks Jensen towards Inamura, but long enough for him to put him in a inside cradle, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, they win, and they actually are the number one contenders for the NXT Tag Team Championships, and they will meet Fraxium at Stand and Deliver. So nobody would have imagined that. They were able to pull it off. Even in the interview, they mentioned that they decided to be themselves, and that's exactly what they did. They took the advice from Street Profits, be yourselves, and that's exactly what they did. Now, Stacks, as you know, has been dealing with his own intents when it comes to the newly faction known as Dark State, or as many people call them, Shield 2.0. As you know, they have been nothing but problems. Recently attacked the Dawn. Stacks and other members of the family of the D'Angelo family made a decision to initiate an attack against Dark State in the parking lot. However, things did not go well for Stacks. However, Tony D decided to set up a match against them in Stand and Deliver between, of course, the D'Angelo family and Dark State. This time, to handle it. So we'll see how that rolls up. Now, our main event is also another qualifier for the vacancy of the North American Championship in a ladder match and stand and deliver. We have, of course, Carmen Petrovic, which was great. However, the surprise appearance is someone we haven't seen for quite some time, Thea Hale. And of course, she was greeted by Andre Chase, who she hasn't seen for quite a while. And of course, Uriah Connors, and Kale Dixon are there to support him. And of course, uh, what's his name? Andre Chase told her, I will always believe in you no matter what, even if Chase U doesn't exist as it used to be. So Thea was very touched by him that no matter what, he always looked out for her like a big brother. And that's exactly what happened. But many of you may question who will walk out as the winner. Will it be Carmen Petrovic? Well, to our surprise, Thea Hale was able to pick up the win when she applied the Kimura lock onto Petrovic. And just like that, it was over. So she took the final spot. So we have, of course, part of the ladder match for the vacancy of the North American Women's Championship. We have Kalani Jordan, Saria Soruka, Izzy Dane, and Lulavat, and now Thea Hale. So, real question many of you may ask, how will this end? Well, I can tell you that there are going to be moments where Soruka and Zaria are going to not use their friendship towards the end. That's one of the predictions I have. But we'll wait till then. But for right now, let's finish how this show ended. This NXT ended. Trick Williams, as you know, he was willing to admit about what Javon Evans told him. Those who know, Javon Evans told him that you're acting like Carmelo, who doubted you. And of course, he's like saying, okay, maybe you got me right there. You got me. Maybe you got me. But of course, Obafemi showed up and Javon Evans. But later, of course, when it comes to these type of things, all hell broke loose. But Javon Evans was the one standing with the NXT title, so claiming he will walk out as the winner at Stand and Deliver. So we will see what happens. So stay tuned for that. But as of right now, we are officially done with all reviews. So let's move on with our last and final thing, news updates. Okay, so welcome to our news updates. As always, let's begin with upcoming events. The first one, as you know, we got mostly from the month of May. I think we're all filled out for everything for this month of April, but we'll see. As you know, Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling will have their upcoming event on May 10th, Northern Rising. Apparently, they just announced that the NWA World Heavyweight Championship will be on the line. Tom Latimer, who represents NWA, the National Wrestling Alliance, will be defending the belt against someone many of you may know. He's a Canadian and a former member, of course, the Dark Order. We're talking about Stu Grayson. So this is an excellent opportunity. I can't wait to see this. I want to see this. So that's going to be fun. Now, for those who are from the San Diego area, more specifically, or anywhere in the SoCal area, many of you may know this person, Cedric Alexander, will be making his debut with the Tijuana promotion, The Crash. If you guys are not familiarized with that promotion, that's the only one of the bigger promotions out of Tijuana, Mexico, right across the border from San Diego that you can see. So Cedric Alexander will be there in May 16th. So this will be his debut. So if any of you guys are interested, if you guys are from the San Diego area or anywhere in the SoCal area are interested to go see him, go get your tickets now. If you're big fans of Cedric Alexander. Now, I normally haven't seen this event just yet. Singapore Pro Wrestling has announced for their upcoming event on May 30th for Mayhem. 2 matches have been announced. Zack Sabre Jr. will be making his appearance, taking on Aiden Rex. And then we had a tag team match. We have The Statement and Shivam, 2 individuals from the Thailand promotion setup, will take on Eamon Axeman, and of course, coming from Dragon Gate, Ho Ho Loon. So that's pretty much the upcoming events. However, another update coming in for the upcoming WWE ID Championship Tournament. As you know, they will be participating in 2 events. One of them is with Future Stars of Wrestling on the 18th of April. they just announced another opening match, and this is, of course, Ice Williams versus Brad Taylor. So, as you all know, recently we have seen Ice Williams, and Brad Taylor confront each other recently in WWE Evolve. So, they'll be in the match. Now, some interesting developments. As you all know, Suzu Suzuki is no longer part of Neo Genesis. But however, there's been speculations about her maybe starting up a new faction. However, it was later announced that she'll be teaming up with two unnamed individuals on the Cork and Hall show later on this month on the 24th of April. And this could be the possibility of a brand new stable. We don't know yet. There are those who are hoping Zuki from Stars will probably join, but we'll see. AEW has filed a trademark recently on April 14th called AEW Summer Blockage or something like that. This is part of a series coming up for the Arlington, event later on in All In. So that's what we do know. Now, many of you may have heard what's been going on in New Japan. Something as very interesting has come up. It was announced that Tetsuya Naito and BUSHI has announced that they will be leaving New Japan Pro Wrestling. Now, some of you may question why. According to what information was coming from various platforms, Tetsuya Naito refused to renew his contract. Tanahashi, of course, said that he tried to talk to him, try to come up with negotiations, but Naito said that he's not. Bushi decided that he's not going to be either renewing. He felt like he was requesting to be let go, and that's exactly what they're going to do. So they're giving in to the wishes. But however, this information said that they both will be ending New Japan on May 4th. So I mean, it's going to be sad to see them go, but I don't know what's going to happen to Lij. That's something I cannot speak on that. So that's what we do know. Now, for those who remember this, David Finlay said that they will go to war against, of course, the War Dogs will go to war against the House of Torture, or as we call them, the House of Losers. Well, Evil had said this, saying that he slams that they demand a cage fight, and they're saying they're just fake pro wrestlers who can't take a defense position. Evil is full of it, to be honest with you. He's a coward because he runs with his tail in between legs when a chance to get, thinks he's better. I mean, look, he claims that the War Dogs are kicked out of the Bullet Club. That's not how it works, pal. But I'm sure David Finlay and the War Dogs are going to teach them a lesson. Now, many of you may have heard what's been going on. Mariah May, as you know, there's been speculations that her timing with AEW is coming to an end. And two different outlets mentioned this. One is from Fightful, the other one is from Wrestling Observer. And this is what Dave Meltzer mentioned from the Wrestling Observer. People in WWE know that Mariah May wants to join the company. I know that people in WWE, they know she wants to go there. I don't know when her contract is up. Everyone seems to think it's summer. Now, we haven't heard anything yet from Mariah May since she lost to Toni Storm since Revolution. Fightful Select even reports this as well, that they have the same clarity that she will go to WWE. They even mentioned that there's been maximizing her leverage and negotiating power. Basically, they're WWE are hoping that they get to keep her. We just don't know exactly. We know that she was brought in to AEW by Tony Khan, saying that he had an idea for her, and we don't know exactly. Now, if Mariah May is considering going to WWE, that's fine. But we haven't heard anything yet what's going to happen. We haven't heard anything from AEW's perspective or from anybody or from Mariah May on her or anything. So that's pretty much it. I wouldn't be surprised if Mariah May decided to stay in AEW to have a little feud with Mina Shirakawa, which of course we could definitely see. But we just got to wait and see what happens. So as of right now, we are now officially done with our news updates and everything else. Let's just call it a day. Okay, so I hope everybody enjoys this episode coming up. I'm going to have to keep the next one a bit shorter due to the fact that early in Thursday morning, I got to go back to work. This will be my final shift for the time being until I go back to work in 2 weeks or so. But this one will only feature, of course, WWE Evolved and AEW Dynamite. So stay tuned for that. If there's any other news updates that I need to report, I'll do that as soon as possible. As for the United Sayaka Watch, nothing new yet. Well, except for a few things. But yes, We'll get to that at some point. But we'll see. But the priority is WWE Evolved and AEW Dynamite for the next episode. So until then, I will see you guys in the next DWZ time. Same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye. And have a nice day. Bang.